Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I'm an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. Make sure to check in the description notes below the video where you will find links to all of my online shenanigans, including how to get my patterns to knit up for yourself, how to join the Watch Barbara Knit Facebook group, how to support me on Patreon, and where to get Watch Barbara Knit merchandise. We have a Fave 5 for you today. This is the first one of the new year. What Fave 5 is I pick a theme and I then look through patterns to find the favorite 5 patterns that just jump out at me when I am thinking about that theme. That's why I call it Fave 5, not Top 5, because I'm not saying that these are the absolute best in the category and that there's none other that's better. It's just, if I had this in my mind and I was thinking about knitting this particular whatever genre I am looking at, what 5 patterns would be the most likely to be on the short list to go onto my needles and be cast on. So I pick out themes. I have a stash of themes that have been suggested by y'all, and you're always welcome to make more suggestions. I try to look at them. Sometimes y'all are a little too specific and it makes it difficult to try to search for them, but sometimes I come up with them on my own. And actually, I did this last year, I think fairly early on in the year, and I think it's a fun theme for January, so I'm revisiting it. And it is my Fave 5 learning projects. So these are all going to be small projects to learn a new skill or technique in knitting. And they were just ones that caught my eyes. I do have to admit that when I was browsing and looking for patterns, the name of the pattern also was sometimes a contributing factor because it made me giggle or I had fun with it. So I'm going to have 5 patterns for you to learn a new technique, or just a small pattern if you already know the technique, to have some fun with and get a project done quickly. So at the beginning of the year, you're done with it and you have the feeling of accomplishment and you've finished your first project of the year. So we are going to go to now. I have a secondary screen, and so you will see me looking over here to look at my screen to make sure that I'm giving you all the details of each of these individual patterns. If any of these patterns tickle your fancy, there will be a link in the description notes below the video where you can go get a copy of the pattern yourself. I'd love to hear if any of them are going to jump onto your needles. So this first one, as I said, I was talking about sometimes the name got me. This one is one that the name reeled me in, but then the content kept me coming back, is I Knit of My Own Accord. Well, I Knit of My Own I-Cord by Mary E. Rose. And what this is it can be either considered a coaster or a pot holder, but it is a project specifically designed to help you learn and understand the intricacies of I-Cord better. Now, this is not me, okay? This is actually what it is called. I-Cord the term I-Cord was really coined by Elizabeth Zimmerman, and the I in I-Cord, it stands for idiot. The idea was it's so simple that anyone can do it. So the I in I-Cord stands for idiot, and I don't know what to do with that. But what it is it's to create like a tube, essentially what you're doing. So this calls for a sport. Actually, look here, we got a worsted weight, but she also recommends a sport weight. Again, doesn't matter what size your coaster is, it's pretty flexible. She calls for a US size 6, which is a 4mm needle, and it says anywhere from 30 to 100 yards. So again, small project. Sizes available: coaster, dishcloth, double thick pot holder. So there are 3 different things in this pattern. And she says, ask any great knitter how they became good at the craft and they will tell you practice. But as many knitters will tell you, practice swatches can be boring to work, and if you knit enough of them, you will find your home overrun with practice swatches that have no practical purpose other than, well, practice. These skill builder patterns allow you to practice 3 different methods of working: an I-Cord cast on, an I-Cord bind off, integrated I-cord, and applied I-cord edges. Worked using an easy-to-remember knit and slip stitch pattern, they will make great television or travel knitting projects. One of the really nice things about knitting is there are usually more than one way to achieve the same ends. Try all 3 cast-on methods presented here for the coaster pattern to find out which one suits you best. Then practice some more with the dishcloth pattern and use your preferred cast-on. Build the skills by working on the hot pad, which introduces an applied I-cord to join 2 pieces together. And actually has it in the picture. You can see this one, the top one, in the other picture, it's blue on one side and green on the other. So apparently there's a way to like attach 2 pieces together. It says, while starting the I-card in all the cast-on methods is work with a provisional using half hitch knots. Feel free to use any provisional cast-on that you prefer. So you're going to do a provisional cast-on. So that'd be something to learn if it's not something you've done. And you're going to learn all these different I-cord techniques. And here is a closer picture of it. So the columns in the center are going to be your integrated I-cords, and then we have an I-cord on the bottom and an I-cord my hand disappeared. I-cord at the top and I-cord edges. So if you've always wondered about I-cord, and really I-cord is very simple. It seems more daunting if you don't know, but once you like sink your needles into it, it really isn't that difficult of a technique. So that is, and she calls for Wool of the Indies Sport or Knit Picks Dishy. So we've got, I'm guessing that the sport is like for the wash, well, I'm going to guess the cotton is for the washcloth and the wool is for the coaster. Again, it's going to be real flexible. You're using very small amounts of yarn. Probably can use scraps for this. Okay, next. This is a super, super fun technique, and this is the Wiggle Tapestry by Xandy Peters. We are calling for a super bulky yarn, and the needle size is a 15, which is a 10mm needle, and between 10 and 50 yards. Again, very small. This is really, you're making a wall hanging. Xandy has called it a tapestry. This is purely for technique, and you get this cool decorative item out of it. Let's see, the yarn that Xandy used is Sister by Knit Collage and Spun Cloud by Knit Collage. This is a really good way if you have any art yarn to use it up because it looks really cool. And what you're going to learn in this project is a technique that Xandy developed himself, and it is the stacked stitch technique. And this says the simple project is a beginner level stacked stitch project that will help you become familiar with the technique. It features stripes of wavy color work, a fringed edge, and a dowel for hanging. And you can see he used a knitting needle, which is really, really cool. What are stacked stitches? Stacked stitch technique is made by piling up increases or decreases on top of each other to create vertical movement within a row. They make unusual shapes and knittings and extremely wavy striped color work without strands on the wrong side of the piece. So this isn't stranding, you're only working with one piece of yarn at a time. And it says this pattern contains written instructions and photo guides for the stacked increase, stacked decrease, fringe, and finishing. So he's giving you everything. So there's a narrow version and there's a wide version, and you also need the needles, 2 large stitch markers, a dowel or vintage needle for hanging, a tapestry needle, a crochet hook. If you don't have Knit Collage yarn, any super bulky yarn will work. And that's what I'm going to say. This would be a great place to play with some art yarn because, as you can see, we're working with a lot of fun stuff here. If you want to go, the pictures on Ravelry shows the art yarn, and it's really cool. You could use a thick, thin yarn. You're just aiming at the bulky edge. So this is a very simple, small project to play with this very innovative stacked stitch technique that was developed by Xandy Peters, and learning from the man himself is going to be the best way if you want to learn this technique. So that is the Wiggle Tapestry by Xandy Peters. Okay, next we've got beading. So I was going and trying to find fun new techniques. And again, the name is hilarious. We come in peace. So this is from Rosemary or Rami Hill, and it is called We Come in Peace. It takes a fingering weight yarn. Rami used Yummy 2-ply, which is Miss Babs, one of my faves. US size 1 needle, which is 2.25 millimeters, and you need 90 to 110 yards. That is size 1, 2, 3. These are pulse warmers or wrist warmers or whatever you want to call them. They are decorative and fun and a great way to learn a technique. And what you are learning here is this beading technique, and this is a pre-strung beading technique. So really, beading techniques can be broken down to two basic categories. Either you're applying it with a tiny crochet hook, or you pre-string the beads and move them into place. And if you want to learn that pre-stringing technique, this is a great project for it. So Rami said, everyone needs a little out of this world warmth sometimes. Enter perfect pulse warmers to keep the space between the jacket and wrist a little toastier. Small bits of fingering weight yarn in size 8-0 beads. Most of the work is in stringing the beads. Afterwards, you can make one cuff in the evening or a pair in the day. We Come in Peace includes 3 charted sizes. There are no specific written instructions for the beadwork pattern. So it is working a beadwork from a chart is what you're going to learn from this particular project. Rami also has links to a provisional cast on and a 3-needle bind off that is going to be used in this pattern. So it is super cute. I thought it was a lot of fun. Here's another picture. So there you go. It's a wristband with aliens on it. So it's fun. I love that Rami chose to use alien green as the thing. So if you want to learn how to do beading, that's what we got for you. Okay. This is just adorable. It's so cute. This is Little Owlet by Slade, also known as Verily Knits, and it is a first-time Intarsia project. Now, what Intarsia is it's the color work that is used to create these large blocks of color. Stranded doesn't really do that very well. Mosaic can't do it. You end up with too many slipped stitches. To get this kind of effect, your best choice is Intarsia. And what that means is you're going to have like separate, like each eye and the nose are going to have like a separate ball of yarn that you're going to be using. But, you know, I do not really do Intarsia at all. I don't think I've ever done Intarsia. So if you want to learn it, here you go. And it says the Intarsia section is charted only. It calls for DK weight yarn, a US 4, which is 3.5 millimeter, and a US 6, which is 4 millimeter. You need between 145 and 230 yards. We have 4 sizes, which is baby, toddler, child, and small adult. So this is really intended for littler people, I guess. But it is super cute. So that's what it looks like flat. And this is what it looks like when you put it on your head. So it is super cute, and I just wanted to include it. And also, this is very unusual for a Fave 5. This is actually this is a free pattern. I didn't do that on purpose. It's just this fit my theme, and when I looked at it, it was a free pattern. Now, why would a designer offer a free pattern? A lot of times what they're doing is they are offering a free pattern so that you can get an idea for their writing or design style to decide if you want to purchase one of their larger patterns. Typically a free pattern is going to be on the simpler side, and I just think this is really great. I think maybe this designer is hoping to bring more people over to love of knitting Intarsia, which is another good reason to offer kind of like, the first one is free kind of situation. So this is Little Owlet by Slade. And then now This one is a very small and easy way for you to learn the mosaic color work technique. Mosaic is when you are knitting stripes and slipping stitches and you're not running any yarn along the back. And so this is Tap Dancing Penguin Washcloth by Anni Howard. It takes DK weight yarn. Your needle size is going to be 6, US size 6, which is a 4mm needle. It also calls for a 3mm hook. I'm guessing that's a crochet loop, but I'm not 100% sure. Looking like at about 126 yards. And who doesn't love a tap dancing penguin? I mean, really, how can you not love a tap dancing penguin? This washcloth is knitted back and forth in rows using the mosaic technique with knit and slip stitches only, 1 color each row. It incorporates a 3rd color using Intarsia, but this is optional. You can knit the washcloth in just 2 colors if you wish. A crochet chain loops allows the washcloth to be hung up to dry. So if you don't want to do that, or if you had learned to make I-cord using I knit of my own I-cord, you could put an I-cord loop on it as well. The penguin design is charted. Instructions are included in the pattern for how to read the chart. So this is a super cute, and then so this one, now whenever I do these, I really try to make sure that the patterns are available both on Ravelry and on an off Ravelry source for those who have accessibility issues with Ravelry. I loved this. It is super cute, but I could not find it on Annie's non-Ravelry pages, but I have another option. She also has the Yeti and Bigfoot, which has pretty much all the same specifications. You're going to learn the same thing, and you can get this pattern on Lovecrafts, which I will have a link to. So the penguin is only available on Ravelry as far as I've been able to find, but she has the Yeti one available on other sources. So I didn't want to not include this designer because she has a lot of super fun stuff that I think you would like to look at. And you know, who knows, there might have been some snafus in her getting it uploaded to other. I know that I fight with my website like it's my job, because it is. But so this is a great small project for you to work on learning the mosaic slip stitch color work style of color work, which I obviously love. I have a lot of patterns, and then you can go get some of my patterns. So that is, I believe, it. So yes, we have the, you can learn I-cord with I knit of my own I-cord. You can learn these stacked stitches from the Wiggle Tapestry. You can learn beading from the We Come in Peace wrist warmers. You can learn Intarsia from the little Owlet hat, or you can learn mosaic from one of the 2 cool mosaic washcloths. So I hope that this has maybe inspired you to add something new to your knitting repertoire. I would love to hear in the comments below if I hit anything that maybe, or that maybe you want to learn, or if you already know all this stuff and there's something else that you would like me to look into. If you like this video, please give it the thumbs up, click that like button, and if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much.